Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. Back with another video on the 450. Really, we're talking about what's in the 450 today though. If you're curious about the build, the exterior, all of this stuff, we're not talking about it in this video. I just uploaded a video a week or two or three back about all of that. I'll link it up here if I remember. So if you're into that, click that link and that'll explain everything. I've also talked about the ethos of this truck. I have a bunch of videos on the channel about prepared vehicles. They do a lot of overland vehicles and camping builds and whatnot. But this video, we're talking about kind of the preparedness vehicle EDC, the prepared daily driver stuff. And this is mine. Pardon the roosters. I know I've said this in a lot of videos. Close your ears if you don't want to hear about killing of roosters, but my wife hatched a bunch of chickens this year and 50% of them are roosters, basically. We're trying to get our flock down to like 2 roosters probably, and we have like 12. So tonight is gonna be a big slaughter, and this will be the last video where you're hearing so many roosters like that, because they're right here, and once one of them starts going, they all start going, and I start talking, and they all want to crow. So apologies for that. So anyway, this truck, this is 2019 F450 Super Singles. This is essentially my daily driver. I'm not commuting to the office or anything like that. I don't even drive every day. So take that for what it is. I have a few vehicles. I also have a Tesla in there that I honestly drive more than I drive this truck. But whew, I did a video on that Tesla and it triggered a lot of people. So we won't talk about that one today. We'll talk about this one, which is on the opposite end of triggering people, I guess. But it is a beast of a truck. But I live in the mountains of Colorado, and I've always wanted this truck. It's the truck that dreams are made of, or at least my dreams have been made of this truck for a lot. So if you followed my channel for any bit of time, you'll know I talk a lot about vehicles. I talk a lot about EDC. I talk a lot about preparedness. And this video kind of brings together all of my favorite topics into one. So you want to build the exterior of the vehicle, the prepared daily driver, in a way that it can handle things. It can push other vehicles out of the way. It can go up over the curb or through the median if traffic is closed, you need to do a detour. It can handle a bunch of stuff. So overland type build vehicles are great as prepared daily drivers. But as important, maybe not as important, but important also is the stuff that you keep inside of your vehicle. Now we're going to be talking about, I'll put chapters down below. You can skip ahead because we're doing a little bit of a talking intro here, obviously. So feel free to skip ahead to whatever you care about. But we have stuff from really practical, good to have in everyone's car, to a little more, you know, climate dependent or location dependent. And like I said earlier, I live kind of rural, not that rural, honestly, but a little bit rural. You know, I'm on 15 acres here. I live in the mountains. Nothing too crazy. I'm not like 2 hours from civilization or anything like that. But in the daily life, I do experience some of that rural small town stuff, you know, down trees on the road, things like that. Though I've never had to clean a down tree, I have seen the remnants of other people cleaning them. Anyway, to tee you up on kind of what my life is and how that applies to me and how you can kind of take it and apply to you. But if you live in New York City or something, your kit, your needs, your requirements are going to be a lot different than mine. But hopefully this video will still give you a good idea and you can take from it what you like and you can ignore the rest. But it's always a good refresher in vehicle kit. So we're not really mall ninja around here. I don't have AR-15 strapped to the roof. I don't have molly panels every which corner of the vehicle. Like, there's not really much. This is like pretty practical, pretty realistic. And while I do have a lot of kit, a lot of pieces of gear, a lot of items, this is, you know, a decade or so of experience in building out vehicles and using stuff and, you know, helping people that slide out into a ditch in winter. All of that stuff kind of comes into mind. I do gear up a little bit more once the snow starts falling, so I'll probably do a future video come late fall or winter talking about that. But this is the stuff that's in my vehicle 24/7, 365, if you will. So let's just talk about what's in the cab. And then we'll talk about what's in the bed, and then maybe a tiny bit of what's relevant under the hood. So on the inside of the truck, again, I'll kind of show you, there's nothing too crazy. Oh, well, actually, we'll talk about that in a second. I will need a drink here soon. Well, there's not much going on. I usually have car seats in here. I took them out for the video because I'm gonna show you what's under the seat, what's behind the seat, and all that stuff's a little harder to access, obviously, once the car seats are in, but normally, car seats here. But other than that, I didn't really clean up for it. There's little pieces of toys. There's a sock that I actually need to give my wife back probably, some grocery bags and whatnot. So this is just it. Like, it looks just like a normal, a normal truck. Nothing too mall ninja, anything like that. So that's what I like. I like kind of clean, minimal aesthetic. All right, sorry, move the truck so we're in the shade and it's not all crazy. So yeah, relatively clean interior. I do have, I got cat skins delivered. I have the install scheduled for next week. So we're adding brown leather, heated and cooled. Oh, it's gonna be so nice, kind of like a King Ranch I'm going for in here. Anyway, so I'll talk about that later. Let's start here. So easy access stuff that I like here, stuff I use all the time, stuff I can access from the seat, but when I open the door, easy stuff here. So pepper spray, my motto, I carry a gun every day, but not everyone needs a bullet. So this is nice for animals. This is nice for crazy people. This is nice for a variety of things. I can hand it to the wife or my teenager or whatever if I need to. And I even have a little more than that in the glove box. But this, easy to grab here. We got a multi-tool. We got a flashlight. This is an Olight Warrior. So this is a little bit of step up in power versus what I carry every day. And this is a little bit of redundancy here. I carry a multi-tool in my pocket every day. I carry a weapon every day. I carry a flashlight in my pocket every day. So these are kind of extras in case I need another one, or I lost one, or I just forgot one that day or whatever. I have a headlamp in here. I have a thing of shears because I use scissors all the time. These are some really nice ones called X shear. So a little bit of a curve to it and they cut really nice. I have another little flashlight, a little micro stream. I have an adjustable wrench. Because, little bolt or whatever needs tightening. I got another utility knife in here, Sharpie, pen, a couple Sharpies actually, and then this Allen key. I forget which size, but I have a bunch of stuff that is this size Allen all over the place. So I just bought like a 20-pack of these and have them everywhere. Little microfiber cloth, extra beanie, another headlamp because I'm using headlamps all the time, pair of mechanics gloves, pair of these little Gorilla Grip gloves. This is not something I have in here all the time, but this is a pee bottle, just in case you need to pee. This is that, but I actually usually have it filled with water. So it's extra water I could, use to give dog water, rinse something off, whatever. But if I need to use an emergency, I can dump the water and then pee in it. I've never needed to do that in my daily driver. I've done it camping plenty of times, but I thought, this is something that's good to have. I keep one in some of the other vehicles for camping reasons. This is something I don't always have, but it's tape measure. I've been just working on so much stuff all the time. I just bought like 6 of these to have everyone. I was like, I'm going to throw one in the truck because maybe for this truck, I can check, like heights or widths, or if I'm loading something, I can check lengths, and I'm measuring stuff all the time. So I was like, why don't I just throw an extra one? Fits perfectly right in there. This is my favorite, not sponsored, but if you guys are watching, hit me up because I've bought like 10 of these tape measures and they're my absolute favorite, 16-foot or 25-footers. I keep some cash down here, my Diamondback cover, key, my hitch key, and then one of these Rescue Me glass breaker seatbelt cutters, all in here if I need to access. I have another one of those Rescue Me's elsewhere, and then I just keep a little bit open in case I need to throw a water bottle or something down in there. And then I have a fire extinguisher Here, I have actually 2 fire extinguishers in the vehicle. I'll get to the other one later. This is ABC rated and kitchen oil type rated as well. These are relatively cheap. You can buy a 4-pack, I think, for 40 bucks. I'm gonna link everything down below. I'm gonna make as many of those affiliate links as possible. So if you're shopping for anything, stuff I'm talking about or anything else, I would appreciate you clicking those links. A lot of them will be Amazon links, and then I can make a buck for giving you free content. So always appreciate you using my links. But yeah, if you just want to jump ahead and get a full list of everything, that'll be in the video description below. These come with a little mount that I just screwed in here, and they're not super tight in here. So I added a little piece of packing tape in here to keep it from sliding around. I have it oriented this way, so if I get into a crash or something or stop really fast, it won't go this way, but it could slide out the other way. So the tape keeps it in, but when I need to get it, that tape will just pull off really easy. But it's enough to keep it in place there. Easy access. It consumes that little spot that's open there. And then I even have some room here. And then they make some stuff that goes under there. So I could add more stuff. But anyway, that's, you know, out of sight, but easy to access just real quick. That's obviously for car fires, but also where I live, wildfires, forest fires are a risk. And there's actually been 2 times that I've put out fires in my life that I just saw some smoke on the side of the road that was from a cigarette or something like that. And this was actually before YouTube, before I had a YouTube. So it was like more than a decade. So I haven't put out a fire in 10 years, but 2 times in my life I was driving and saw a fire and just put it out by stomping it out or like spraying a little bit of water on it. And they're really small, but they would have grown. So ever since then, I knew fire extinguishers were important both for responding to a vehicle fire. I'm camping a lot, so, you know, campfires and whatnot, but just fires on the side of the road. So fire extinguisher, and that's also why I carry 2 fire extinguishers in this truck. So good to have. Easy access, because fires, if you didn't know this about fires, they grow fast. So the quicker and sooner you can extinguish them, the better. And then under the seat from the front anyway, I just have a little sunshade that folds up under there. In here, I did this aftermarket steering wheel. It's kind of Raptor style, flat bottom, really cheap for these Ford trucks and makes the experience much better. Has nothing to do with preparedness gear. And then I just put a little black sticker over the blue oval. This is good to have a dash cam. I did a whole video on this one specifically if you're interested in that. Cell phone magnet. And then I am a licensed ham radio operator. This is a Yaesu FTM 500. So obviously great for communications. I just have a little small hood antenna there because I'm not on the radio all the time. That's more of just a cover than anything. But, you know, with that, it's working slightly better than a handheld, but not very good. I keep a bigger antenna in the bed of the truck so I can swap that out if I need to. But this is good to have on you. You can tune into emergency frequencies when cell phones are down. You can tune into repeaters. I have a network of friends that are also ham guys that are often listening in on a certain frequency. So depending on where I am in town, they're kind of spread out all over. I could communicate with them in an emergency. Great to have. I can also use this to communicate with, I have handhelds here, so I could give those out to somebody else, and just great to have. Other than that, just some chargers and whatnot down in here. I do love the Ford cup holders. There is a little secret compartment under here. Well, I shouldn't tell the world, but you can put something under there if you want. Now the world knows, and holds Nalgene's. Love it. Ooh, I'm talking so much, which is always a great opportunity for a quick shout out to my sponsor of this video, LMNT. So LMNT, if you don't know about them, they've sponsored a few videos. Huge thank you to LMNT for that. They've been great to partner with, and one of my favorite video sponsors of all times. Honestly, if you guys want to just keep sponsoring videos for the rest of my life, I will take it. This one is my favorite raspberry salt today, and it has everything the body needs. I actually just grabbed a box because it's better. So anyway, this doesn't break fast. There's no sugar, has If you didn't know, to be perfectly hydrated, you need more than water. And LMNT, science, has everything you need. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, no sugar, and tastes delicious, especially if you like salt. This is lemonade salt. So this was the seasonal flavor, actually, that, I know I'm drinking raspberry. I like raspberry. Lemonade and raspberry, they're my top two favorites. I don't know which is my favorite. I mean, raspberry is pretty good too. But everyone loved lemonade so much that they decided to make it permanent. I actually had a comment asking why lemonade wasn't a permanent flavor because it's so good. LMNT listened. Lemonade, as of this video actually, is now a permanent flavor. So if you love lemonade and you were so sad it wasn't going to be around any longer, it will be. So LMNT, anyways, the best hydration supplement used by everyone. Navy SEALs, Olympians, professional athletes, Joe Dirt, probably, myself, soccer moms, everyone can get down on some LMNT. And ever since I picked them up as a sponsor, so many of you love LMNT. It's awesome to hear. I love when I can pick up a sponsor that you guys just absolutely love, and it seems like LMNT is one of those sponsors. So shout out to LMNT for sponsoring another video. They actually offer you guys at drinklmnt.com/LLOD with every order, not your first order, not your first subscription, not just every order you do at drinklmnt.com/LLOD. They throw in a free sample pack. There are eight individual sticks in here. That's worth, I don't know how many dollars, quite a few of them for free with every order. So go there every time you order LMNT. They'll know that you're follow the channel and there's value in sponsoring my videos. So appreciate you using that link when you can, and appreciate LMNT for sponsoring a video. All right, end of sponsorship there, but I do keep elements in this little center console area here as well, and I have a safe. So let's just go through everything in here. I have the Benchmade Bushcrafter. I don't know what my focus is doing here. I try to keep a fixed blade, a pretty heavy duty fixed blade in all of my vehicles. So this is more, you know, bushcraft survival type knife. I could keep that anywhere, but I have it here. Some gum, little cigarette lighter, charger, some lighters. I don't know why I have two lighters in here. I don't even smoke, but just good to have lighters everywhere for starting fires or whatnot. Some elements. So I basically always have a Nalgene or some water bottle with me. So if I'm out and about, I could, you know, swing into a gas station and fill up water for free and get something better than they have in the stores for cheaper. And I just always have it on me. Half the day I'm fasting anyway, and I don't want to break it, but I do need some minerals to function. So I'll usually keep some of those in here, and that pairs obviously, but also for survival scenario or get home scenario, you need to walk 30 miles. This would be a godsend. Leatherman bit kit in here as well, because I always have a Leatherman on me, and I like having most bits that I would need. I got a little seatbelt disconnect here. Well, it's just really to get the chime off if I'm doing something off-road or in a scenario where I just don't want to listen to that chime. You know, I always wear my seatbelt normal driving, but sometimes I don't have a seatbelt on for one reason or another. So that's just in this little thing that fits in here natively. I had to cut this little section off for it to fit on top of the safe, because really this is designed to not go with the safe. This is a safe from Tuffy. Real Truck sent this out to me. Shout out to them. I'm not going to show you my combo, so I just have it on 000. So it's open, and I don't have a ton of stuff in here. I really need to add some more stuff. I do have a spare 43X. I really should swap that to a 19. I don't know why it's a 43X. I think I took it out of a different vehicle that had space constraints. I got a, what is this? I got another knife in here. It's another Benchmade, I think. Oh yeah, this is the Adamus in here. And then I have another bigger thing of pepper spray. Oh man, it's like stuck in there. Like bear spray here, a little charger. I have a couple of Baofeng radios. I have some bars. I have a little energy goo type dealio. I don't really like these at all, but it's a little bit of caffeine and some carbs if I need to just get some energy in my body, or I'm gonna burn some calories, or I'm gonna go for a quick run or something. You know, kind of good to have. I do have some bug spray, the slightly healthier kind with no DEET for the kiddos. I have some sunscreen, actually another charger. This is a MagSafe charger. So if I'm going somewhere, this just slaps onto the back of the phone and charges it. This is from Charge. It's kind of cool. You see all the little stuff, but also has USB-C in and out as well. But a nice little easy way to charge the phone. I do have some N95 masks in there that could be, you know, some crazy outbreak, or if there's a bunch of smoke, or if I'm gonna need to saw through a lock with an angle grinder and I don't want metal shavings in my lungs. I have a couple of the, you know, the actual N95, not the little chintzy ones. These are like the form fit to your nose, true N95 masks. I got some cashola down in here as well, some emergency cash. Basically, it's always good to have as much as you're comfortable with, but I keep a couple $100 in case, you know, there's a gas station that isn't taking credit cards or some other emergency that I need, and I kind of need to flesh out the rest of this. But this is one of the interior modifications I had to just slightly alter to fit in with the safe. So that's cool. A lot of storage in these consoles. Then over on this side, the Super Duties have dual glove box. All right, here. So up in the top one, I have a little boo-boo kit here that I have like syringe to clear out, not like a needle syringe, but a syringe that you can use water to clean out wounds. I have some gauze, some flossers, more boo-boo kit stuff, some butterflies, some stair strips, things like that there. And then a bunch of forks and straws and stuff, you know, if we get fast food on the road and they forget to give us something or whatever. And some wet wipes up there. Lower portion here, I have mostly charging cables. Then another, actually I have two of these here. This one's more pills. This is kind of, I build my own. I buy a bunch of the individual packs, and it's got Band-Aids, more stair strips. And then really my wife, I never get headaches. If there is a reason that you want to hate me, it's that I have never had a headache in my life. There are a few other people I've met like that. So got some Tylenol, some ibuprofen, some diphenhydramine, a few other things in there. And then a thing of bear spray. For bears, for violent protesters that, again, don't need a bullet, but you need to make them move. It's just good to have a non-lethal, and I have regular pepper spray, kind of a bigger regular pepper spray over here. And then this, if you've never shot bear spray, regular pepper spray is more of a stream. Bear spray is more of a big mist, like a really powerful mist that has pretty good range. So yes, it's good for bears, and I'm certainly not telling you to use it on people. Definitely don't do that, but an emergency is an emergency. Then not really much going on over here. Got a little lint roller, some spare diapers, and extra water bottle. Some of you will notice the truck is not done. I need to add a winch still. I need to wire up the lights. I do have an S-pod that I need to wire up for all of the lights. That'll be mounted in there somewhere, but I don't know where yet. Then back here, so this is the door right behind the driver's seat. So this is the next easiest place for me to access. This is like a orange type little tarp, ground tarp. So if I need to do something, climb under, do whatever, and I don't want to get all muddy, or I need to use it as a signaling device or whatever, I have this in there. I have another. This is an LMNT fire extinguisher down in there. This is one of those LED road flare type deals. I'll just get some of this stuff out. Another set of these kind of rubber gloves here. These are actually given to me from a guy at Overland Expo. Thanks, brother. He gave me a few sets of those. Then we got emergency safety vest. This, if you need to change it flat on a busy road or whatever, and vests can get you into all kind of places that you might not have been able to get to without a vest. little collapsible water bowl, a few trash bags. I was gonna get this out. I don't want to dislodge all this stuff because it's just kind of a pain. Anyway, these are, well, magnetic, but not to aluminum, not to Aluma-duties, but I could stick it on the bumper, for instance, and they have a variety of flashing. And so if you're, again, changing a spare or whatever, and you want to be seen, you can throw that out, or you could put it on the ground, you know, behind you if you're in a blind corner to give people a little heads up. So always good to have some of these in there, and that all just fits down in there. And then leave a spot for a water bottle or something over here. And this is a little cheapy dog leash, one of those cinch. So if there's a dog, a handful of times there's a dog on the side of the road that I want to save or whatever, make sure it doesn't get run over. But if they don't have a collar, then one of these kinds with the little loop, you can just put around their neck and restrain when you need to. You can use dog leashes for other stuff as well. Roll of paper towels, always need that when you got the kiddos, spill stuff, make a mess. And then an IFAK. This is a Dark Angel medical. So I can get this from the back seat, I can get it from the front seat. It's nice, it's tucked away, it's full trauma kit, so cat tourniquets, gauze, quick clots, all the stuff that you need there. And then it also doesn't block the rear seat vent, so that's kind of nice. These are all Husky liners as well. These actually came with the truck, but I'll often upgrade mats. But it was nice that this truck came with the Huskies, and the flat floor in the F-Series truck is so nice, so much nicer than the Toyota trucks that have a huge hump. Just completely flat, so nice. Oops, back now, sorry. Forgot I had to go pick up my kid. So we are in the back seat here. I forget what we were talking about. A couple toys on the ground, some grocery bags. There's a little mat, that's actually pretty cool. I'll talk about that in a second. But under the seat and behind the seat, there's some storage. On the Super Duties, some of them come with this storage bin underneath. There are lockable ones you can get to. There's a bunch of different storage options. I'm pretty sure this is a Husky like molded one that I have in here, and it just kind of sits in here. There's one strap holding it in place, but basically this is the box, and then it has a ledge, and there's all this other room as well. And then behind the seat, there's some room too. You gotta get a little thing that allows you to access behind here, and then you can put some more stuff back in here. So I'll get into that in a second. Let's just do under the seat. You'll see when the seat goes up, that does get a little closer to the back. So you just gotta be careful when you're putting stuff back there that it doesn't take up that whole room, or that it can compress. So let's talk about this. I'm gonna set the exposure. Back here, we got some washer fluid in a bottle. I've been doing this hack forever, so don't drink this. This is washer fluid. So I don't have this where like my kids can get to it easy or anything like that. Plus they're not quite at that age where they can open that lid, but this is extra washer fluid. If you're on the freeway in the snow, whatever, and you run out of washer fluid, you're gonna have a bad time. So I always keep that back there. This is a Fantic T8 Apex jump starter. So this is one that is rated to be able to jump start my vehicle and pretty much most other vehicles on the road. And then the X8 Apex tire inflator. So this is a small tire inflator. I wouldn't use this to, air up and down the 40s, but if I had to plug a tire and refill it, this can handle that. I also can use it as a battery. You can use that as a battery. So got those in here. I got another orange device that you can use for signaling. This is a sleeping bag liner, so it's like adds minimal bit of warmth, but can use it for signaling or whatever. It doesn't take up much space, so I just keep it in there all the time. It'll add a little bit of warmth to a other sleeping bag if you wanted to throw it inside another sleeping bag. So yeah. And then I have, this is just an extra bag that folds into itself. So it's a backpack basically, and It has nothing in it. I just have it there in case we did need to do some get home thing or carry something and add my wife with me or whatever. I have my get home bag, and if we wanted to bring some extra stuff, we could load up another backpack and my wife could carry it, or I could carry one on the front, one on the back, something like that. I have a little folding saw. I have a bigger, more legit one in the back. I'll show you in a second. A little jet boil with fuel in it. Some Peak refuels. These are freeze dried, so you can, obviously the main way is to heat water and rehydrate it with hot water and you'll have a warm meal, but you can rehydrate it with cold water as well, or you could just eat it straight out of the bag really. But ideally, you do it with warm water. I have a couple of Peak refuels in here, and then I also have just a little cheapy thing of ramen. Just some calories, some food. I have a Grail water filter here, so, and then just a beanie, but a Grail water filter. So if I need to filter some water on a long walk home, I'd grab that. A concept that I'll talk about in a little bit is I don't have everything in the get home bag ready to grab, because situationally, you know, if I have a 5-mile walk or a 50-mile walk or whatnot, I'll load different stuff into it. That's kind of the plan. I got a little stainless steel cup here with a spork and a water bottle inside of it. So some extra water in there. And then in here, I got a little is Insta-Privy toilet paper. So it's just toilet paper without the center roll. This is a little umbrella that's orange. You could use it as a signaling device as well if you want to. Spare diaper, spare hat. This is a Vertex fanny pack. This is the everyday fanny with just some couple pieces of gear in there. I'm not gonna really dig into that, but that's if I needed to swap to like a concealed carry in a bag for some reason or another, or just wanted to bring a med kit or some gear or whatever. I just have this on me all the time. You know, if I forget something or we're going to the zoo and I want to bring a little bag, I can throw it over the shoulder or wear it like a fanny pack. So I have that mostly empty, but some stuff in there, an extra mag and some other junk that I keep in that kind of all the time. Then I have some hand warmers, and then just a little like 5x7, or maybe it's an 8x10 tarp, I forget. This is a jacket, just an extra, you know, old beater insulated jacket that I have. This is folded into its own hood to get kind of compact, so extra insulated jacket. This is a balaclava with a pair of goggles inside, like snowboard goggles. So this is more, you know, winter gear, but it's relatively small and I have room for it, so I keep it in there all year. Do have a bigger antenna for the handheld radios that I have there, so if I want to extend the range of those a little bit. Then I have my get home bag. It's got another bottle of water. This is just a titanium water bottle over here, and it's got kind of a half loadout of gear. So this is some redundant equipment in here that I have more of in the rest of the vehicle, but kind of the smaller, trimmed down version for just strictly getting home. This video is already going to be long, I know. So this, maybe I'll do a follow-up video of and kind of break down the get home bag and the theory behind grabbing other stuff from here conditionally and filling up the get home bag more depending on where I'm really trying to get home from. But the get home bag, this is a Vertex ready pack, fits right in there perfectly. Somewhat loaded out, so it's a beautiful spot for it, easy to grab, and yeah. So that seat goes down. Again, it's like so much gear under there, but it's not really taking up any space. And then behind, this is actually a jump starter. Let's see if I can do this. Jump starter here, or not a jump starter. These are jumper cables that have these big Anderson ports on them. I wired permanently, well, you know, with ring terminals to the battery, thick gauge wire coming off to this Anderson. So I am running a couple different accessories that run off of that Anderson. One of them is jumper cables. So these jumper cables kind of came like that, but I did modify them a little bit. And then I can also use that Anderson, basically a heavy duty battery connect. So pop the hood, I'll show you when I pop the hood, and can plug the jumper cables into it. I got a little ATV winch when I pulled like Talon's K-Truck onto the back. So accessories like that that are high draw. I decided to make a quick disconnect option because I maybe will have some other devices that I want to use. This is a Vertex Recon, I believe, rain shell, multicam. Again, just compact, folded up into its own hood that I keep back here. This is a cheapy, oh, this little string went under there. This is a cheapy, sorry, exposure's too high for this thing. Like one of those lime green construction looking jackets with reflective lining on there. This is one of those things where, yeah, if it's raining outside or whatever and I need to change the tire, I could put on the safety vest or I could put on the jacket for visibility because it's good sometimes to be seen. Sometimes it's good to not be seen. So I got a not be seen option and a be seen option. The other thing, just like with safety vests, if I did in the event I needed to go somewhere, or I needed to, you know, pass off as, you know, someone that belonged somewhere, throwing this jacket on would make me look like I should be somewhere. So whether that's going to some scene, some area I shouldn't be in, you know, normal time, but I need to go for an emergency or whatever, it's just, you could get there easier. Y'all let your imagination play with, you know, diving into that a little more. This is a little multicam tarp, like a little 5x7 multicam tarp with some little paracord kind of lashing points and whatnot. I may show it later, but I've dicked around with kind of popping the Diamondback cover and making an awning out of this thing. It's not really dialed in or anything. And then one snatch strap back there. So I have two 30-foot snatch straps total, one under here and one in the back seat. The other side, back door, I have some rubbing alcohol. So rubbing alcohol can be used for fire starters, it can be used for sanitizing stuff, cleaning stuff, whatever, cleaning like sticky residue off or leftover stickers or whatever. So multitude of uses. So I just keep a bottle in here, 91%, the stronger stuff, water bottle, some spare diapers. This is a ground mat, basically. Really, we have it for the kids. This one I haven't used yet, but I bought this at Costco. We have one in all of the cars that the kids are in because we go to the park or the pool or whatever, and then we set this up. It's like an 8x8 or something, a little ground mat that's like waterproof, a little bit of padding in there, and Costco had them for sale for like 12 bucks or something. So I bought like 4 of them. So I decided I'd throw one in here. Under this seat, I have a Turkish towel. So you can use this kind of like a blanket or a towel or whatever, multi-use dealio. I have a couple of ponchos. These are just disposable single-use ponchos that, you know, if multiple people need a poncho, I have a few options. This is also just an actual poncho, multicam poncho. And then I do have a little boonie hat over here, and then some old Keen boots. I've had these in the car forever, like probably since my first kind of car EDC video. I have some spare, a couple pairs of wool socks in here, and then a pair of gaiters in there, and maybe some hand warmers and some gloves as well. But gaiters are important in the snow. Extra pair of socks, always important. So two extra pairs of socks, gaiters, boonie hat, poncho, a couple extra disposable ponchos. And then the only other thing here right above this is an old pair of snowboard pants. These are waterproof, slightly insulated. Again, more of a winter item, but I got the room for it to just keep it in here all year round. Behind this chair is the jack. The other spare tire tools are underneath that area. And then I got another vest and a couple soft shackles, and then that toe strap. So again, the idea here is, especially with car seats, like think about it, with car seats, I don't want to put my fire extinguisher or my IFAC or whatever underneath or behind where I can't get immediate access to them. So I want that stuff, the IFAC, the fire extinguisher, the other fire extinguisher, all your weapons, you know, pepper spray, all the stuff that I may need quick access to. I want quick access to it. I don't want to have to take the car seat out or whatever. And then all the other stuff is not stuff that I like need immediate access to. It's stuff that I'm like, okay, I got a second to unload the kids, get whatever stuff out we need to. That's the idea behind all of that. So then in the bed of the truck, we have the Diamondback cover, which I love. I love for an everyday truck, because then I can keep more stuff back in here, out of the elements. It's not gonna get stolen if I do a Costco trip and then we go to a park or whatever we're gonna do. I can lock a bunch of stuff inside of here. It's out of sight, out of mind, locked up. Everything is good, out of the weather. And then I can keep some other stuff like tool rolls and whatnot in here, and I don't have to worry about it just getting rained on and exposed to the elements and all that stuff. So back here, we do have the Diamondback light underneath to illuminate some stuff. I think I'll add some bed lights back here eventually as well. We have the bed rug impact mat, which I talked about in the last video, but it's kind of this hard, rubbery texture with a little bit of foam. So like if I needed to sleep in the bed, it actually provides a slightly softer surface and no ridges to just sleep on if I needed to in a pinch, or if I want to camp back here or whatever. The Diamondback cover, I assume everyone knows about these things. The Diamondback cover opens up to gain access. You could remove a panel or two pretty easily. And then that cover pops up and gains access to the Crossbin, which I have a ton of gear in. So back here, I always keep, well, you got a little DeWalt battery and a counter. I always have miscellaneous crap back here that I'm kind of working on. I'll always pretty much have these are my favorite, like my most used things ever. These are called cargo buckles. Does it say it on there? Cargo buckle. Cargo buckle. So these are super quick, easy to use ratchet straps where this can pull out and it's kind of spring tension to go back in. So you pull it out, you strap it to, you know, whatever. I'll strap it to this just to show you. And then it just ratchets itself down. Super fast, super easy. And then when you want to release it, it goes. I use these all the time, transporting stuff, securing things. If I put a bunch of fuel cans in the bed or whatever, and I want to keep them in place, I'll just pull this across them and hook it over to the other side. My most used thing in the truck bed by far. I got another random Diamondback strap, and then I'll use these a lot. These are called torque straps. So I'll use these because they got kind of a little bungee in, so if I'm cinching something down that may move, this kind of dynamically adjusts a little bit to that, and then it's just longer. These cargo buckles are only 6 feet. That's the main downfall of them. So a variety of straps. I have other tie downs up in the Crossbin that I'll show you as well. This is just an umbrella I gotta take back to my parents' house, and a Rotopax that I was dicking around with figuring out how I'm gonna mount fuel somewhere. I'll talk about that in a second. But I like keeping the bed open. I want to be able to transport sheets of plywood or whatever in here. I'm just grabbing stuff all the time, whether it's marketplace crap or stuff to work on, something on the property. I like to keep a pretty open bed. So you could put a bin back here. I probably will in the winter. Usually in my trucks, I have a bin of like winter specific gear, tire chains, kitty litter, things like that. So in the winter, I probably will have a bin here, but it'll be a bin like a Pelican bin or something that I can strap on top of the Diamondback if I need to transport something here. But anyway, usually I try to have an open bed. This is actually just a painter pole I had a few of these from a painting project. So they sell dedicated hooks that you can use to like get stuff out of the bed. Usually they're only like 6 feet long. I have an 8-foot bed, and usually they're pretty wimpy. So this is a little painter stick that goes out super far, really. And it's a little more stout. So I can reach all the way to the back of the bed with this. They sell these in all kinds of different sizes. And the other advantage is it was free because I already had a couple of them. So I grabbed one of these, and what I didn't have was this little hook. This is like a little boat hook type deal, but you can get these for like $3. I got a 2-pack for like $7, I think it was. And it's for, you know, people use these for hanging Christmas lights or doing crap like that. So it's not like a perfect hook. They sell a few different other styles, but it's basically a way to get stuff, right? So yeah, I could climb over the bed or reach over, but the truck's pretty high, and you know, sometimes it's just easier to grab stuff from the back, but I could climb over, you know, fish it back from here if I needed to. But this is also, there's times when you just want a long reach device. So I'm kind of dicking around with this because you can use it for basically like an awning pole. So my little tarp awning that I'm gonna have off of here then can go onto this, extend it up. Anyway, kind of again, a multi-use tool or whatever. So the end just has the regular threads for a broomstick or a paint roller or whatever. So these are made to thread into that. And yeah, this essentially cost me $3 because I already had the pole. So that's nice. I may do something like mount it up there, but I haven't done that yet. Then I have, oh, sorry, I just unhooked it. I added a little D-ring up here with just a nut cert. And this is just a cheapy, I don't even know what it is, Bucket Boss, a cheapy little tool roll that I got on Amazon. It's not waterproof or anything. It fades in the sun. I've had it out a bit, but anyway, it's held up pretty good. It's got some like relatively heavy duty zippers and whatever. It was just the right size that I was looking for. So I have some tools in here that I'll just breeze through real quick, but it's worth kind of going through. So a multi-bit set here that has a couple security bits and a bunch of stuff there. Let me just grab everything out of here real quick. So some small sockets, this little ratchet that accepts a little hex bit head, so you can use it for the screwdriver bits, and then it has a little adapter that you can use it for sockets. And it's just a little low profile guy. I do have a water key. I could always envision scenarios where I might need a water key for something. These are popular in get home bags and whatnot. Little wire cutter / stripper, some zip ties, some extra wire. This looks like, you know, like some 12 gauge wire, some little adapters, stuff like that in here. All right, I just pre-unzipped all this stuff. So little socket set, 3H drive, and then underneath I do have a bunch of deep sockets. So all my bases covered up to 21 millimeter. Fords are weird. It's a lot of metric with some SAE, but I'm not going to be doing any serious wrenching. This is more kind of emergency, so the metric alone will get me there for the most part. I got a dedicated Phillips and flathead, and then one of these that extends out, a little Klein guy that has some other bit storage in the back, so it can be kind of a short one or kind of a long one. And then in here, all the main pliers you'll need, set of channel locks, bigger set of vice grips, a bigger adjustable wrench, and then a 13 millimeter ratcheting guy. And then back here is kind of my put things back together pocket. We got duct tape, electrical tape, some epoxy steel stick. I actually kept some vinyl tape for like repairing a radiator hose that I need to get and put back in here. I just repaired a garden hose with it actually, but I keep that In here, some bigger, like 24-inch heavy-duty zip ties, and then some baling wire, and then some miscellaneous screws, some longer wood screws, some metal screws. I've just had it where occasionally, now and then, I just come across scenarios when I'm out and about where I really need a screw for something. So I threw some in here, just kind of loose. So this is just the kind of put things back together pocket. So that folds back up and then hooks up just kind of out of the way there. And those are just kind of the frequently used quick access tools that I like to have on me. So the other thing that's super nice is this Crossbin here. So like I showed you, I think you saw it anyway. So this is the Crossbin 4T. So it's kind of higher, super tucked up there. They have an 8-inch one and they have like a 13-inch one. So this one's tucked high because you can fit 4x8 sheets in there almost to the top. And it still has a surprising amount of storage back here. Like I said, the bed's pretty high on the 450s. So I got one of these steps. This is Real Truck / Amp Research step. So I have these. This one's disconnected. I'm debugging an issue. It's like binding up. I think they sent the wrong brackets or something. I'm not really sure. But this side works, and so you can see that step drops down, shoots out a rock light. I really love these steps. And then they'll, you know, retract back up. Obviously, this is also a sequential blinker, or I love it. Look at that. So cool, huh? But yeah, that's what these steps are supposed to do. But this one's binding up, so I need to fix it. So I just have it unplugged right now. But separate from that, that step only comes to here. So this is a pretty long distance to try to straddle, especially on the 8-foot bed to kind of climb up in here. So they got this little step. This is from, again, from Real Truck. And that just gives me a little step to get up here a little easier. I can, right? I can reach this. I can get in here. I can kind of look over. But sometimes you just want to get a little higher because then I'm way up here. All right, so back under here, we'll quickly go through all of the gear. But in here, I have a little DeWalt bag. I have an impact wrench, the stubby one, and then an angle grinder. So that I just keep in all the time. I actually lost a set of these and just got a new one, so I got to put these back in the bag. But these are drill bits with the hex shank. So I don't want a bunch of tools. I don't want a full power toolkit. You know, this is just for emergencies here. I got all my tools at home that I'll bring with me if I need them, but basically I have an impact, so I can use that to drill, drive, whatever with these hex shank bits, and then angle grinder with several extra cutoff wheels. Reason behind those two things is spur of the moment, I'll help someone with a project, and just another driver is always good to have. You use it for, I'm working on crap all the time. So that's for that, but I do have some cutoff wheels as well that you can put on the impact and use to cut off stuff. You know, you can kind of use it like an angle grinder. So that would kind of cover the bases, but I had an extra angle grinder. So I got a new, better angle grinder. So my old angle grinder, I put in the truck. Angle grinder, the idea behind that is not to be illegal, not to break into places, anything like that. Don't get the wrong idea. There's been some things that I've said in this video that would paint the picture that I'm a criminal. I'm not, but again, emergency situations. If there's an emergency, there's someone trapped, or there's a fire somewhere, or there's a wildfire and I need to go through this gate that's locked up or whatever, an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel can gain access to a lot of things in an emergency. Or you can cut off something that's, you know, dragging, or automotive repair that you're just like, well, I need to just cut this thing off real quick so I can continue on my way and I'll fix it when I get back. Angle grinder, all kinds of uses. So extra angle grinder in there for those scenarios. And then some other gloves. I have several pairs of gloves down in here. And then Max Tracks. These are recovery boards. I have an extra old hammer in here just because hammer is always good to have. I have some big, thick contractor bags in there. I have some tape that I just use for miscellaneous stuff. Sometimes I'll tape like a red flag to a big load or something that I have hanging out the back. I found that I just use packaging tape a lot. Maybe I'll go do a return at UPS and I need to tape up the box. I forgot, I don't know. This is the longer antenna for my ham radio setup that just kind of fits back in here nicely. Strap, and then this is a shovel. This is like the lowest profile shovel, so I wouldn't want to do a lot of real digging with this shovel, but in an emergency, it packs down light. It's actually made in the US as well. I think it's called a bully tool. Anyway, I'll link to it down below. Shovel, it fits down there. This is just a little folding set of bolt cutters. This is my big Silky Boy katana saw, so fold out saw. Back in here, this is the 500 millimeter version. I've used this to cut down some big trees. So there's scenarios where maybe I'll throw a chainsaw in the truck, but it won't be in there all the time. So that thing's small and light enough, I can just keep it there all the time. And in an emergency, I could cut through, you know, I think like a 15-inch tree. It would take a little bit, but it's surprisingly fast. And I'm not gonna go out there, I'm not like out doing fire mitigation and bucking up a bunch of trees. I'm just using that for an emergency. So the big katana boy I keep in here, and then things like this, if you spend a couple extra bucks because you want a thing and you're like, man, I don't want to just buy a dedicated thing for the truck, you know, you can just take this out of the truck whenever you need to use it at home. So I only have one of these nice ones, and I just keep it in the truck, and sometimes if I want to use it at home, I'll just come and grab it out of here. And then there I got a Fiskars, it's like the 28-inch chopping axe, I believe. And then the other side over here, I got one of these Vertex stackable bags down in here, and it has mostly a bunch of recovery gear. It has soft shackles, hard shackles, kind of the D-ring shackles. It's got a little, one of those little winch, they call snatch blocks, the little round ones. I got some extra miscellaneous nuts and bolts that are vehicle specific in case something comes loose or falls off that I don't know about. So a lot of basically recovery gear in that little bag that just kind of tucks down there nicely. This is a little tire repair kit, and then a bunch of other tie down straps that are just extras in case I need them. So all of that stuff fits down in there nicely. Again, this is a kinetic strap, and then this is a tree strap. So that's a lot of stuff basically in this bin that allows super easy access. Again, just kind of pop it up, and then basically full use of the bed. And then for the rare occurrences that I do need to take the Diamondback cover off, this bin, I can just pull it right on out, and then 4 bolts, then I can pull the whole cover off. So it's relatively easy. Granted, the 8-foot bed Diamondback is kind of insane, but it's relatively easy still to get all of that off when I do need to use it. But chances are, if there's something I need that's that big, I'll just borrow a trailer, honestly, until I buy my own again, because I sold my trailer. I don't have it anymore. And then I almost forgot, under the hood, most things are stock here. I did a bunch of, you know, just routine preventative maintenance, fuel filters, air filters, oil, that kind of stuff. But there is the issue of the CP4 pump. So I either need to install a disaster prevention kit up there or swap to a DCR pump, which is really the better option, which I probably will do eventually. A few other things that I could do in here as well. And then I have the EMP Shield. I have it tucked up under there. The EMP Shield Mini actually just fits right up under there. And that just installs to provide some EMP protection. This is that big Anderson plug I was talking about that I just have wired straight to the battery. And then I have a few other wires here that I need to wire up, and then install my switch controller and a couple other things. Obviously, I could go for some new batteries, which I need to probably do soon. I'm waiting on Blaze Off-Road has a billet battery tie down that he's gonna send out. So I'll probably swap all that over at that point. There's a lot of people that talk about the EMP Shield not being a thing that'll do anything. Essentially, it's a really advanced shunt slash, a beefed up surge protector. So we'll protect against lightning strikes, and then theoretically EMPs or CMEs, coronal mass ejections, massive sun flares, which we're overdue for. You can't really have a prepared truck without at least factoring in some other contingencies as well. So I put EMP shields on everything. I have a coupon code with them. They don't pay me or anything, but I do have a coupon code that is an affiliate. So if people buy it, I do make a buck, full disclosure. But I add them to all of my vehicles. I have friends in high places, friends that are, I don't know, I probably shouldn't talk too much about them. I don't know if it'll get me in trouble or them or whatnot, but people that know things, people that maybe they're on the EMP commission. I don't know. Well, I do know, but the EMP shields, they're in use, but they're trusted by a lot of people. So there's some people that say they won't work. That's not how you need a Faraday cage around the whole thing. It's kind of hard to know. You can call, if you're really interested, you can call EMP Shield and talk to one of their customer service people and ask them all the questions you have, and they'll answer them. They're very thorough, very detailed. So I encourage you, if you want to do your own research, but people that know way more than me swear by them. And the thing with EMPs also is it's not like an EMP will for sure destroy everything or it won't really affect much. It's kind of a scale, right? Especially with a CME as well. It depends on, where the rotation of the earth is. When that solar storm hits, EMP, same scenario. Am I in a metal building that dissipates some of that energy? Is the EMP further away and I'm on the outskirts of it and I'm not getting hit with the full force? Is it detonated when the car is in the open with the hood open right under it? There's a lot of factors that go into it. So I add EMP shields to all my vehicles as just kind of an extra layer of protection. And then people ask me about that too, like, oh, what's the point of having your vehicle EMP shielded if the gas stations are down after a EMP? That's the thing. You don't know what's going to be down. You don't know what's going to be down after an EMP. So if my vehicle can survive when it otherwise wouldn't have survived, that's something I can use to go get supplies. If an EMP happens when I'm not at home, it's a vehicle that I can use to get home. It's a vehicle I can use to bug out. That's why I encourage the storage of extra fuel. I have some in a few places, but such as these diesel cans. Now I've made my life a little more complex because I need to store diesel and gasoline, but my tractor's on diesel, that truck's on diesel, this truck's on diesel, and then I do this method here with these, I'll link to these cans. I just like how they work and how they store. They're the Midwest, I buy them 4 packs on Amazon, and then 3 wide fit perfect on this shelf that I'll also link if I remember. So I try to keep 12 cans and I number them 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And that correlates to the months of the year. So I try to, I'll skip a month or 2 every once in a while and then just dump 2 or 3 cans into a vehicle that needs fuel, take those cans, fill them back up. But, in a perfect world, I would empty one of those cans once a month and then take that can with me on the next fill up and then have fresh fuel in it with stable. I don't know, you might have seen it. I have stable on the shelf, both for gas and diesel. So all of those should theoretically have, a 2-year shelf life. And if you're cycling them 12 cans once a month, they're always 1 year plus, a maximum. If an EMP hits now, the oldest of my cans are good, 100% good for at least 1 more year, but probably more than that. So that's my philosophy on kind of EMP shield, why that matters, why having a running vehicle matters, even if everything else isn't working, because you have an advantage. I don't want to get too much into theory in this video on that, but people are like, oh, then you're going to be a target and blah, blah. Yeah, all those things are obviously, yes. So you need to use some discernment if you have the only running vehicle, but having the only running vehicle is an asset. You just need to be smart about it. So yeah, you can have old carbureted vehicles with no electronics or ECUs or anything like that. That's the more surefire way, theoretically, but I like modern vehicles, and I do have I have 2 old carbureted vehicles as well, but also all my vehicles EMP shielded. So that's what we got going on under the hood. I forgot to film this last night, so we'll interject back into the video now. All right, well, it's basically dark outside now since I had to go earlier. I didn't finish filming this video while it was light out, but that is the truck. That is the setup. Again, not everyone has Super Duty with all this space for stuff. I have it all tucked away to where you don't really notice it much in the day-to-day. But if you have a smaller car, then obviously you could tone down the kit a little bit. You could put a roof box on top of your SUV. You could store all of this in a bin in the trunk of your car. Again, I have some stuff that's really for the winter that I keep in there all year round. You could kind of put some more stuff in there for your winter kit. But if you're into this kind of stuff, this video was long, but I could do a 10-hour video just talking more the ideas behind all of this stuff and the reasons why you might want it. But I've been doing videos like this for years, so if you're really interested in it, I've done a video where I sleep in the truck in negative 25-degree weather. I've done some testing videos. You guys commented on the last video, you want to see me do like another get home scenario. I've done a get home bag scenario in the past where I've walked, I don't know, I forget how many miles, 10 miles or something home with my get home bag, just to kind of test things out, make sure stuff was dialed in. You can't do like my hike home, I'm walking on the side of a busy freeway that you're not supposed to walk on, and I'd probably get arrested by a cop for doing it or something, stuff that you can't really do. But in an emergency scenario, that's obviously where I would walk, because cars wouldn't be driving, because otherwise I'd be driving home. So I can't do exact testing scenarios. So I may do another get home bag video because it sounds fun and I haven't done it for a while, but it would be like not on my real path home, but I would try to simulate what it would look like. So anyway, those kind of scenarios I probably won't get to this month, but I probably will do. But again, like I said in the last video of the Pelican survival kit, let me know kind of what you want to see. And I still have a little bit of time left in September to film some more videos, and I have a couple that I have filmed that I need to edit and a couple more that I'm gonna film. So there are still quite a few preparedness related videos I'm getting to, and I'll probably do get home bag, and I'll do an EDC one. I already did a talking topical one. I did one on home power. Just need to edit. Anyway, that's the truck gear loadout video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe something I missed or something I should consider, or maybe you just want to see the extra kit that I kind of load up for winter, or if you just have a question like, what do you think of this, or what do you think of that, or have you ever thought of adding this? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I learn a ton. I say I have the smartest commenters on the internet, and I don't even say that sarcastic. Sometimes I have some morons in the comments, but most of the time you guys are pretty dialed. So I learn a lot from you guys. So I'd love to hear from you, thoughts, feedback, anything like that down below. But yeah, that's the truck. That's the loadout. Again, don't get too caught up that I have a giant truck with all of this stuff. The gear inside could go into a minivan. It could go into whatever. So I just happen to, my prepared daily driver is a big truck, but again, not everyone can daily drive a big truck. And I get that. Like if I was in a scenario where I was commuting down to Denver for work every day, this wouldn't be my daily driver. So just try to take the concepts and, the gear inspiration, apply that to your own life. But again, I'll leave all the links to all this stuff down in the video description below. Leave some comments. Appreciate you. And yeah, until next time, guys, take care.